Nick Diaz.
Nick Diaz, what's up?
What's up, Nick?
How's it going?
What's going on, man?
Yeah, he will.
I heard you ran to Jamie Jasta downstairs.
Yeah, I was like, come on up, come to Opie Radio.
How are you, buddy?
Are you in town for Thanksgiving, or are you just here to promote an event? You don't have a fight, right?
No.
Everybody wants to know that.
Yeah, no, I just came out here for the 205.
Did you get tickets?
No, I didn't get tickets. They did not give me any tickets.
All right.
They were rude with tickets.
Well, because I was really mad. We've done a lot of UFC on this show, and Dana White and helped them yell and scream about UFC not being in New York. And the only time I asked for tickets was for the MSG 205 because it's in my backyard, and I got shut down. Then I read an article that the Diaz brothers didn't get tickets. Then I felt a little better about my situation.
Yeah, they've been funny about letting me in these events lately. In my brother's fight too, they didn't let me in my brother's fight.
Wow.
So that was kind of
What was that about again?
I mean, it's like it's like just 1 inch. You know what I mean? Like that's the difference between how that fight could have gone and as far as I'm concerned, I was definitely would have been that inch.
What, are they afraid you're gonna do it running?
No, but I worked the corner.
Yeah.
And they just wanted to keep me out of there. They know that wasn't gonna. It would have definitely helped him out a lot. I mean,
Were they worried you were going to?
I was seeing things in that fight that I would have called and told him.
Right.
Like, I was seeing things that he wasn't seeing because I do these things and I know how they work out for me. And it's kind of like a formula. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, hey, look, this is what you do. And come third and fourth round, I think that if I'd have been there, we would have been able to put it together and got that guy out of there.
Especially your brother's insights, because no one's going to know that as much as a brother.
And the thing is Melendez is there, and you know what I mean? The thing is about Melendez is he's great. He's really smart. He knows what he's looking at, but they're training partners, and so they're like kind of opposites stylistically because he's more of a wrestler and he goes on top. So the things that like Gilbert would tell him to do is more of like what Gilbert would do. Yeah. And, like what I would tell him to do is more of what he would do. So I'm not saying that it wasn't helping having Gilbert there telling him to do the wrong stuff. Gilbert wasn't necessarily telling him to do the wrong stuff. He just, wasn't going to see the things that I was seeing. So that was kind of rough. It's hard enough to watch the fight.
Wow.
Being there, and I'm watching on TV, I can't do anything. I'm like...
Was it because of the bottle throwing at the press conference, or what was the reason why you couldn't?
The commission, I was still kind of under suspension too. Like, are they want me to pay some kind of a fine or make sure that my fine's paid off before they give me a corner's license, so I can't be within 30 rows back or something like that. So they never let me on the floor. They didn't let me in the arena. I could have at least been in the back. And, working with him before he walked out like I did the first fight.
Wow, that's tough.
Yeah,
where did you watch it?
Where did I watch it? I watched it in James Ballinger had a room. Yeah, the MGM Grand had a villa over there. So he had just a bunch of his people in there. They're all watching it. And then I didn't want to be there because I'm going to go in there and I'm going to be freaking out the whole time around all these, really... expensive people everywhere. Yeah. And they're like they don't know who I am or nothing. They're just there for for James. So I'm like, okay. But
was that hard?
It was rough. Yeah, it was rough. I thought he had him out of there for sure at one point in time, third round, I guess. And I was like, that's just no way you're coming back from that.
Right.
Have you watched it again? Like, what was it that you would have told him?
Well, I would have told him not to throw punches at that dude at all because he's gonna sit there and watch you and try to counter everything. So all you do is fake at him and flick at him and fuck with him, and that's how you do that. But he went out there and just he just didn't have it together in the first round. I think I could have clicked him into the right mindset. Plus me standing in front of him, fooling around with him and standing in front of him with my right hand forward. We all three stand the same way. Oh. So he doesn't have anybody else like that to kind of work with him. And I just think that it would have definitely helped out having me there a little bit. But
how hard is it after all that shit talking in the beginning when it's over to have to hug that guy and say, hey, man, good job?
It's all, it's whatever. By the time you're done with 5 rounds, you're pretty spent everything you had. It's like, okay, what else? I mean, there's like a weird camaraderie. It really doesn't mean anything. It's just like right on.
It's some good shit talking.
Good fight. I hate you, but good fight. No. I mean, not even like that. It's really
Those
nothing.
Fights have been ridiculous.
That was the best fight I've ever seen, though.
If you say, "Hey, see you at Croke Park, 100,000 paid." I mean, can you do it? Would you guys go to Ireland and do it? I mean, that's got to be for part 3. It's got to be crazy.
In Ireland.
Yeah.
I suppose. I mean,
there's got to be a third fight sooner than later.
Yeah, it's all.
I would assume that would be pretty soon.
We want to see you versus GSP.
Yeah.
Get that rematch.
Yeah.
When can we see that?
I don't know when he's ready to fight. I doubt that he's really, being serious about. Like I say 2 things. I'm on this show right now, and then everybody's talking about it. Like he's just, barely says anything about coming back, and everybody's like, oh, he's coming back. So I don't, you never know what's.
So you're saying he's afraid to fight you?
I think anybody's afraid to fight me. I mean, they got to be stupid. I'm afraid to fight anybody too.
I'm afraid to sit right here.
I'm not afraid to say that I'm not afraid to fight somebody. I'm like, okay, you're gonna pay me. I'm not gonna enjoy it. That's where we get into this huge controversy. Oh, I just love what no. This is a curse. And then I wound up in the guy for the job, and it's just what it is. So we'll deal with it. And I'm either going to go out there and get kicked around now, or maybe I'm kicking myself later. Like, I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody.
But out of all the fighters, you're one. You're one of these guys that win or lose, your real estate doesn't go down.
Well,
everybody supports
I've
you
never
even
lost
more.
a fight that I'm fighting. So I've lost. You got a guy that either going to run away or hold on. But if you come out and fight me, they know they're not a better fighter, so they can't really go there.
Yeah.
And people know what they're looking at. They're not stupid. So,
you fuck people up in high school?
I was never like picking on people or anything like that. It was more the other way around. I was low insecure. I was broke. I was on welfare. I was getting dropped off from the corner. My mom dropped me off down the street. She's driving a shitty car.
It embarrassed me too, dog.
I fucking
feel that.
And I wouldn't go to school unless my clothes looked right or something. I was really
insecure.
I had a really hot girlfriend in high school, and I'd get in fights over that. And then by the time I got into high school, I was moved around a lot of schools, so I was getting in fights in high school over that. And then I had bad attendance, and they put me on some half-day thing where they're like, okay, you're dangerous, you're on a half day, and we want you to make perfect attendance before you can come back to a full day, and we're going to escort you from class to class. I'm like, I'm already embarrassed and insecure enough to be in school. I'm getting in
That's
fights
pretty
all the time.
impressive, though, man. Be escorted from class to class.
It was a weird, and then my mom, she was kind of a pushover. She wasn't gonna go like, hey, this is bullshit. You know what I mean? So I just basically had no shot at doing well in school. So I dropped out sophomore year and started competing in jiu-jitsu. I wanted to wrestle in high school, but I didn't. Didn't really work out like that because I didn't have the attendance.
Do you feel like you'd have missed your calling though? Like you could have, in that sport, you would have done amazing in wrestling.
I think I would have done great. I mean,
the wrestling coach wrestling coach has to be crying that this guy didn't have attendance to get him on the team.
The thing about wrestling, I wasn't a very strong guy, and I wasn't a very fast learner when it came to wrestling. Because in jiu-jitsu, a guy wrestles you down, and then you learn jiu-jitsu from the bottom, anyways. So I learned wrestling a lot better after I understood how to to defend myself on being on bottom, which wasn't hard because they always throw me on bottom. I was 15 years old. You had a bunch of wannabe pro bodybuilders, football players, and pro wrestling. Everybody was doing a pro wrestling thing back in the day, and a lot of those guys tried to transition over. So I always had different looks in the gym when it came, like strong guys, steroids. That's why you would get into doing mixed martial arts or fighting, because you're strong or something, or maybe you did some other sports, or someone would make this. I was already doing martial arts, and I was already getting in fights, and I actually went to go train to learn how to fight better. So when I end up in a fight over my girlfriend or over whatever kind of nonsense, whatever gangster bullshit I had was going on back then, I was gonna get the better of it. And then I started having real confidence when I was like, I'd come home, tell my friends, I'm like, yo, dude, I just tapped out this guy. He's like buff, I'm like, dude, I would choke your dad. You don't understand. And they would be like, that's when I was infatuated.
Like, I would choke your dad?
Yeah. We're 14.
Yeah, I'll fuck your dad up.
Yeah, I'll fucking whoop your dad's ass. And
it's nicer than saying I choke your mom. That's for sure.
But I was fanatical about it then.
Yeah.
Once I turned pro, it was over. I was like, okay, this sucks. I got to fight again in a couple weeks here. I'm going to be training and losing weight.
I'd be like, Nick, can you tell my dad I want to go out this weekend? 37
fights, 17 years later, all I was thinking about was weight. What am I going to eat? Make 170 from 195. After a while, you realize there's more to life.
How close did you come to it just being wrong, where you were on the, out on the streets and not competing and making something of your life?
Well, I never, I was really versed when it came to the dope game. You know what I mean? I never got into that. I was always I was always smoking a little weed, but I never got into. Everybody's parents were dealing dope, and you know their house was a meth lab or something on every you know. I grew up next to a trailer park. Like half of the park was like meth labs.
Where is it? Where did you grow up?
Over Stockton, Lodi, California.
I just broke down there. We had a tire go flat on the bus, and I got out, and I was like, Stockton. I was like, I'm like, where's the Diaz brothers?
Right.
And we walked down to find some civilization because we're off the highway, and these dudes pulled up, and they were like, yo, you don't want to be walking over here. Where are you guys? Are you guys broken down in that tour bus? And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, imagine you just broke down there. Imagine you growing up there. That'd be crazy.
Come back and there's nothing left of your bus.
Yeah, you know what? It's actually a really nice place to live as long as you understand. Like you're not just because you're in Stockton doesn't mean you want to go downtown. Nobody goes downtown. There's the courthouse. There's it's kind of grimy over downtown, but on the north side of town, towards Lodi, it's kind of nice. Like I live in an area over there. It's called Murata, and it's a lot of trees and stuff. It's older houses. My mom rented a house over there, like a three bedroom house, 1 bathroom. We're all 5 living in it, and it was a shitty place. It was like my neighbors had nice houses, but at least she got us onto the
nicer area.
Onto the nice side of the freeway. Yeah,
Right.
So and I'd always hang out there. All my friends, they all grew up around there. Some nicer houses, and so before I did my last fight, I stuck to game plan and just bought a house over there.
Nice.
So
That's cool, man.
Is it true you swam Alcatraz?
Yeah. No, I do a lot of triathlon. I usually do like anywhere from I want to say 8 to 12 races a season since I was 18. I was a swimmer. My mom put me in swimming, and a little bit of karate. So I got to
That's a hell of a triathlon.
Yeah, thanks
Swimming
to her.
and karate.
You didn't have to punch a shark or
No,
anything.
I did a little bit of BMX, so I knew how to take apart a bike and change a tire. I wasn't stupid when it came to bikes. So, and my grandfather's a track coach. They named a track at Don Womble Field after him, and he was always, track coach. I get in trouble at school. I'd go and make me run, and so. Yeah, I had some good family. So,
she knew you might have to escape one day from Alcatraz.
Yeah. Is your mom tough? Is she a tough lady?
As far as falling off and joining the whole dope game and the gangster scene and all that, I just knew better. You know what I mean? Like,
So your mom raised you right?
Yeah, so
somewhere in there.
Well, somewhere in there. Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
No, she did it really. I mean, I really, owe her the world. But the thing is, everybody else's parents were like selling dope. They were going to school with nice clothes. I was like, what? And my mom's like working, 8-hour days at a restaurant for 30 years. So I wasn't.
But single mom?
Single mom.
Where was your dad?
He was cooking. He was in the picture in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You cool
they're
now?
fine. They're fine now. Yeah, they live together. I mean,
that's cool.
It is what it is.
Did it frustrate you to see the kids with nice clothes, knowing how they were getting their
driving
clothes?
cars when they turned 16 drove me crazy. I just wanted to fight everybody,
right,
on account of that. Then when it came to my job, I was like, shit. But I mean, at least I was.
Can you talk about Alcatraz? I want to go back to Jamie Jester. So you swam Alcatraz?
Yeah. So there's a triathlon. There's also a swim. It's Escape from the Rock triathlon, and Escape from Alcatraz. 2 different events, but two different. Two different people put it on, and then or promoters or whatever you call them, and then they've got a swim also as well. So I think that's starting to cost a lot of money to do that swim. So I mean, and I think the triathlon. So it's not really. It's not something that I wanted to do like every season, but
Right.
I've done about 5.
How hard is it to swim?
In the last 15 years I've been racing. Like I did that one 5 times.
Right.
So the swim is 1.5 miles, and it's really a lot nicer than you think. One time it was really nice, and then a couple times it was a little bit harsh, but it was never as bad as swimming over in Santa Cruz, where it's
not choppy.
People are always in the water at Santa Cruz and they don't complain about it. But for me, I'm like swimming around that pier in Santa Cruz is a lot harder of a swim than Alcatraz.
So you have no doubt those guys made it then?
Oh, the ones that escaped?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, how could
they always
could
say
you not? Like, like,
but they say
say the
over and
current's
over
so
again
strong.
that it was impossible to do the swim, but they're actually doing it every year.
Pretty sure if I had a choice of getting ass raped or swim in that water, I'd make it.
I mean, you jump in the water and you got all these people are in the water. around you, and you can hear the seagulls chirping, and it's like you can feel the sun kind of hitting you. It's nice. It's not what you'd think.
The water's not cold?
It's cold, but I mean, it's doable. I mean, people are jumping in with no wetsuits. Like I was wearing a wetsuit, of course, but I mean, there was some swimmers out there with no wetsuits, and they don't mind because they go out there and they swim over there across from Ghirardelli's.
Yeah,
that's just like a swim practice. You go there and we swim. I'm gonna go swim for an hour today. You know, that's what I do. It's my workout.
Is the guy that
wetsuit or no wetsuit?
That's pretty amazing.
Is the guy that wins it like the OG Alcatraz dude? Like, is there like a dude who's like the hardest?
There's so many pro triathletes, and any you know. Any given day, they can decide to train and plan for an event, and they're going to win it. Like, you know what I mean? And you never know who that's going to be. There's tons of them. There's so many of these guys. People are like, well, you ever think about going pro? I'm getting my pro card. And there's no money in it. I'm like, there's no. Everybody, it costs money to do it. Anybody who does it does triathlon is spending. Like, I've spent over. I mean, my last bike that I got stolen, so worth over $10,000.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I got stolen too. I live in Stockton. Somebody got smart and found out I had that thing, came and ripped it off when I was like in Las Vegas or something.
Could you imagine you find out that you stole his bike?
Exactly. Yeah, I know. I'll get you, right?
Oh,
Just give it back. I'll give it back. I swear.
Wait, I stole whose bike? What? Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
How do I get it back to him immediately?
And and they're trying to sell it back to me probably. I'm like, well, yeah.
As far as triathlons go, what's your best finish?
Well, sometimes I just have a good race. I don't get too competitive. You know, like this is what I do. It was just an investment I made to keep me in shape year round, so that if they call me for a fight, I'm ready to go. I'm like, I'm already in shape for doing this. And then if I have a fight coming up, I'm not going to race all hard. Or if I do go do a race, I'll be happy to do like a race, like 2 weeks away from a fight. But I'm not going to go out there and kill myself out there. I'm just going to have a nice race.
Right. So what do you do when you're not fighting financially?
This year's been really. That's why I had a slow season. It's really been screwing with me because I'm over here like making appearances, doing
seminars,
showing up at nightclubs, and then networking through whatever sort of. I've never been out of Stockton. Like I said, 17 years, 3 to 5 fights a year. You don't understand when you have a fight coming up in 3 months, so you only get 3 a year. So each 3 months you have another fight. Right. So when you have a fight coming up, it's like someone's out to get you. Like it was the same thing in high school. When I was in high school, they were like, "Oh, someone's gonna fuck you up today," and you're like, "Oh shit." I'm like, "Really? Well." Tell him I said fuck you. And you're walking around like, then you're walking around like shit, man. Like every time you turn the corner, you're like, hey, yo, come with me because I'm gonna go over here, and so it's the same. It's the same thing. Now you have a fight. Someone's talking shit. You wake up. You're like, fuck. What did they say today? The media's going. It's like, it's rough. You don't really have time to deal with a lot of other stuff. That's why I said, you really after a while you realize there's more to life, and you start to go, man. And I used to get real mad when people would understand things that I didn't understand, and get more money or make more money or end up on a Wheaties box. I was like, what the fuck
are they doing?
I whoop your ass. I'm like light years ahead of people. Like it's amazing. Like, okay, there's a big 4-year gap. Okay, like me and George St. Pierre, who actually I got in the UFC before him, but Robbie Lawler, Carl Parisian, Robbie and George are the only ones that are still like even fighting. George isn't even fighting right now.
Who bugs you the most?
4 years later, then there's a couple guys. Then Carlos Condit, which is probably the only one.
But he's done now, right? He's going to retire.
I think so. I mean, I think he should. They're just not. He doesn't have the character. He hasn't invested in the right type of character. Like I put a lot into this. Like people don't understand. Like you want to come into this like with a nice wife and a nice life. I'm like, motherfucker, I didn't get none of that. I don't get to go home to my nice wife and nice life. And if you're doing that every day and you're putting all that effort into your nice wife, I'm putting 100% into what I do. I'm gonna fuck your whole world up right in front of your nice wife and your nice life. It's not gonna be fun. You know what I mean? Like Alvarez. I'm not trying to bring. I'm just saying. Like, look, he ended up the guy for the job too. But now you're fighting McGregor, okay? And it's like you got so much riding on. Like, you can't act the way that I act and say the things that I'm capable to say. I've built this whole platform. I live a fight life. I can do what I want to win a fight. You have to worry about like what people are going to think about you, and then when all that goes out into the media, people start believing the hype. They start buying into the hype. Now 100%. The people around you, including your family and everybody, starts buying into that hype too, and they start bringing nervous energy around you. And then, like, you maybe say some kind of comments or say something in the media, and then they don't really agree. They're like, oh, or let's say I get suspended or something from the athletic commission for, so everybody's calling me and they're being negative about it. I'm like, no, fuck, I wanted to get suspended. Who gives a shit? I would never have had a vacation. People are telling me, oh, sorry, you got suspended. And, and it's just negative energy, it's just negativity, and you got to get it, like, you got to just ignore it.
But are you so frustrated?
When you have a whole family and a whole, like, you got too much riding on all that stuff to be able to have the freedom to do what you want, say what you want. If I want to say, fuck you, and look at you to your face and say, hey, fuck your mother, then that's I can do that. See, I don't have to worry about like what am I being a good role model.
That's why you're one of the biggest pay-per-view draws and why people want to watch you fight.
That's why you and your brother are so exciting to watch.
And then people get mad at me. At the same time, I didn't know I was a role model. I didn't know I was famous like for a really long time. So when I fought George St. Pierre, I have like a soccer mom pulling up to me next to me at a stoplight, and she's going, I hope GSP beats her. I'm like, bitch, we're in Lodi. I'm like, we're in fucking Lodi, and I got a soccer mom coming up hoping I'm like, where's the hometown love, right? So, it was rough, and I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm not a good role model for your children. They never gave me the opportunity to be.
Right.
So here, George is like this big role model and this sport athletic endorsement guy, and he starts talking shit, going like, okay, Nick Diaz is a bad guy. Nick Diaz deserves to get beat down. And I'm starting to feel some type of way about this now, because I'm like, you know what? I just had a soccer mom pull up. I'm like, got all these. I want to be on a Wheaties box. I want to get paid for some fucking endorsements. I want them to want me to win the UFC title. They don't want me in that position. They're like, shit. So. Yeah, they just anything to keep me away from that.
You don't fit what they want. You don't fit.
I don't care anymore. I'm like, I don't need the fucking belt. I negotiated pay-per-view into my contract without a title. I'm the first one to ever do that. And these motherfuckers were all pointing the finger at me, calling me stupid this whole time. Eddie Alvarez tries to copy me. And people are trying to do what I do, like basically signs with my agency that I went and found on my own. I left Stockton and was like, okay, in nightclubs and moving around, talking to industry, talking to everybody that's somebody. Once I realized, like, okay, this is, how do we get in here? How do we go there? I didn't know what to wear. This is 3 years ago. I'm like, I didn't know what, how to get into a nightclub. I'm like, what the fuck? Why don't you let me and my friends in? I was out on the scrubs. I mean, I had to cut my circle short. It costed me a lot of money, a lot of moving around. I came to a lot of real understandings, and now I get it. And now that I get it, I'm fucking pretty pissed. I'm like, dude, this is. I could have known all this shit when I was 20 years old.
Now? Yeah.
Like, they were trying to put me on blind date, and I knew better. I'm very intuitive. I'm like, I don't belong on this blind date. They're gonna put me. I'm 20 years old. They're gonna put me across from some hot LA girl that's just totally hip to everything, and I'm this ignorant 20-year-old that doesn't, just because I am here around people who don't make any money, and they don't see me going anywhere. The people that are going somewhere are already it's old money. It's like they're ready to they're taking over their parents' business, and then the ones that make it out of there, then they get if they don't get knocked up or sewed up, then they leave, and then they live in San Diego or somewhere.
Right.
And I just
crazy. I relate so much to that childhood you're talking about, man. It's the exact environment I was
fighting
in.
your way
and
out.
No hope.
It's rough out there, but like, wait, it's not so.
Hope.
Yeah, when you're out there, it's not like super rough, like when you think, like it's there's hard parts of town. You're not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. What's rough is nobody comes to you. So there is no opportunity there. And I was like, okay, when I fight and I win, and when I fight and when I win, I'm going to have opportunities come to me. No. You need to go.
You still got to go get them.
Yeah, like, I mean, if I wasn't here right now, I'd be in Stockton. I wouldn't be on this show right now. So, like, it's just, you got to get the hell out of there. And when you have a fight coming up in 3 months, you're going to go to a nice, warm, safe place that you're used to, where you train, and you don't want to change what works.
Right. I noticed the UFC, there's more shit talking going on. There was a time where it was very chill.
Because people were scared. And then when they watched me, that's what I'm saying. Like, Conor McGregor, he copies my model and mixed it with Floyd. I don't know how to act like Floyd and be all money guy, because I grew up broke, and we just don't act that way. I don't want to act like a douche like that. I mean, like, if I had this understandings, maybe I would have approached it differently. But I never put on an act. I was legitimately pissed off.
Yeah.
And I've legitimate for reasons. And when I never stepped out of line on anybody. I never do. I'm like, these guys start running their mouth at me, and they say the wrong shit, and then I call them, and I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, and I worked harder than you, and that's the thing too. I make 170 pounds. Like, you got Alvarez fighting McGregor. He's small. He's shorter than McGregor. He should fight at 45. But you know why he doesn't do that? because he'd have to do the diets I do. He'd have to do put in the miles I do. I put in miles. I put in rounds. I'm on the mat doing jiu-jitsu. These guys don't have black belts. If they do, they don't have a real boxing background. McGregor don't have no black belt in jiu-jitsu. He just learned jiu-jitsu before this last fight. And then
wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know,
watching YouTube videos.
He's Googling.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very serious thing getting a purple belt or a blue belt under Cesar Gracie back in 2004, 5, 6, all that stuff. There's the only people that were getting belts, I was one of the first American black belts under a Gracie or something like that. Way back. Yeah, I've had my black belt for a long time. And it's a big deal. I mean, it's not I haven't given anybody any belts. You know what I mean? And who are these, these people passing around belts? I'm like, go win a competition with that belt. Let's see how you do. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? It takes a long time to learn jiu-jitsu. And then these guys don't want to invest in that. And the ones that have, they're not going to go and do boxing, traditional. They're going to do kickboxing, and that's just going to be enough for them. And then they want to go home to their nice wife and nice life, and they've got a whole bunch of other stuff to worry about. I'm over here, miles, jiu-jitsu, pro boxing, kickboxing, and judo. And sambo, and I'm doing all of it, taking all of it into consideration, and always have. As soon as it was there for me. I'm actually pretty good with the jump rope.
How important is the jump rope? Because you keep hearing about more and more.
Yeah, jump rope is a really solid tool. I think that more people should invest in the jump rope, and a lot of old.
So if you don't know how to do it, it looks gay as fuck. I was a kid who didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, I'll get down on a jump rope.
What about Kovalev Ward? What'd you think?
I thought. I knew what I was looking at in that fight. I didn't get to watch the whole fight. I've been here in New York, running around, freezing my ass off every time I go outside. I go inside my Wi-Fi.
How do you deal with this? As soon as I see him on the street,
I've been freaking out over this. Yeah, freezing. I'm like, dude, my hands are still cold, and I feel like my brain is cold on the inside of my head.
Right.
It just doesn't warm up. So,
well, you only got a hoodie on too.
Yeah.
You got
I have 3 jackets on.
Okay, all right.
Okay, for your, yeah. It's cold.